40 years ago this week was the first ever WrestleMania. You would think it's like 41 because it's WrestleMania 41, but it's not. It's 40 years. If you can think back over the last 10 to 15 years of WrestleManias, what is the one finish that pops in your head that you would change from a match?
That we would change?
Yep.
Oh, man.
That you were so irritated.
Okay. Yes.
And
Brock
disgusted
Lesnar
and
winning over Undertaker, breaking the streak.
So you would have kept Undertaker undefeated.
Yes.
At WrestleMania 30.
Yes.
Got it. E, you got one that comes to mind?
If the WrestleMania 40 main event didn't come in line the way it was supposed to come in line, I would say it was Cody losing in 39. But because everything happened the way it should have happened, I actually like Rhodesia. I can't think off the top of my head. Actually, I like the idea because that was something we should have done.
Bless you.
Could not hit the button. I was trying to get that button. I don't hit it. I clicked that bitch.
We got you.
It wouldn't do it. Damn it, Riverside.
So you going the same? Brock and Taker?
Yeah, to be honest, I can't really think of which I would actually change, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Because when I watch a lot of these matches, I don't typically get upset about who wins and loses. I mean, I'm invested in it for the most part, but I will say I think that was a big misstep having Undertaker lose. I think in some ways Undertaker should have went undefeated until he retired.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yep.
I know for sure. I mean, granted, he's gone now.
Yeah,
right?
because Brock didn't get anything from that.
See, but I think he did. Because if you look at how he was used before he beat The Undertaker, he was putting everybody over at the pay-per-views. He would dominate on Raw, and then he would lose on the pay-per-views. He lost to Cena like that. He lost to Triple H like that. So he was probably 50-50 in regards to how many times he won or lost on pay-per-view. And then once he beat Taker, that's when he became Suplex City. That's when he became the Beast. That's when he really... Now, you can argue and say he didn't need that. They could have pushed him that way in the first place. But that was when that started. I would have said that because I was always, that person who was like, it should be Roman. Should be somebody else, like one of the young guys. But the one that, to this day, still for the life of me doesn't make any sense. And that was WrestleMania 34, I believe. Actually, no, I think it was WrestleMania 30. Bray Wyatt versus John Cena. And John Cena beat Bray Wyatt.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one that, for the life of me, I don't understand why Vince had John Cena beat Bray. All the momentum in the world.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm going to forget because I'm like, anyone who knows to watch the show, I don't have my tea. I'm actually drinking some bubbly right now, which is sparkling water.
Oh, cheers to that.
Not bad. So no caffeine for your boy. I'm going to be extra forgetful. I just popped in my mind. Booker T, Triple H. Was that, where we, was that 14? Was that something?
No, that was somewhere. No, that wasn't 14, but it was somewhere between like 14 and 20.
Something like that, right?
Yeah.
Like Booker T should have won that match. He should have, just for the context of like that story where somebody like you can't be champion. They should have proved that somebody like him could be champion, right? So we can be inspired. And I don't know. I don't think we have time to talk about it, y'all. But you want to talk about, Swerve and Booker T beefed out all over the Twitter and all over the X.
What's your thoughts about it?
Yeah, Booker T said that
I haven't really
paved.
So you got to put me up on game. It's
Booker T
too much back and forth going back. Of course, I know Booker T got upset or he made a comment about Swerve being on DJ Vlad show, but then it came out today that Booker T was supposed to be on Vlad's show back in 2020, where I guess Vlad like released some DMs between them two. So what happened? So at the end of the day, what is going on? Who's right in your opinion? Is Booker T right? Is Swerve right? Are neither one of them right? Is everybody right? What the hell's happening?
Maybe we should introduce the pod though, because we like 20 minutes in right now, right?
Not 20 minutes. Dude, he's always my man thinks we 50
we
minutes
about to wrap.
into the podcast. We about to wrap this podcast up.
We going home, y'all.
All right, so I guess we'll talk about how we are 6 episodes away from 200. This is episode 194 of the TFW podcast. That's freaking wrestling. We are 3 the hard way.
3 the hard way.
Thank you, Mr. Knight. I am your host, Matt, joined by my co-host, Miss Rhodesia,
Hey.
Mr. Eshaun over there. Shout out to y'all, the freaks, who have been with us from day one, or if this is the first time you have listened or watched us, welcome. We are all over the place. We are on YouTube. We are on any and all audio podcast platforms. Catch us every single week. Typically, we try to drop on Wednesday. Sometimes it's Thursday, but typically we drop on Wednesdays. So that's the intro. Of course, you guys know we're about to get to the John Cena week 3 Cody Rhodes promo. But before we get to that, E brought up the Booker T Swerve situation. So, who's right? Who's wrong? What's happening?
So I'm a little confused because I actually watched the bad YouTube video, and I don't really know what Swerve said that was that bad outside of, I guess, maybe telling Booker T how he should have felt about Vince McMahon dropping N-word in front of his face like that. Like, right now, you know, Booker T took it as like a form of disrespect, saying he's being professional. He's like, you know, look, I grew up in the 90s. If you think racism hasn't been around for a long time, you're mistaken. Like, right, if you're on a movie set, you're going to hear somebody drop the N-word. It's just what it is, but it's how you deal with it. It's how you deal with adversity, etc. Right? And he felt like Swerve should have been throwing shots at another black man and being exploited on that YouTube channel. That was his opinion. I guess he walked up to him. I don't know. I guess it was at some kind of convention, and I don't know if Booker T was supposed to be there or not. He heard that, you know, Swerve was going to be there, but he pulled up, and he told everybody on Twitter, right? So, in that sense, I mean, I think Booker T is correct. I don't think that we should go on the public platforms blasting each other or that kind of a thing. I think we should have side comments. I'm sure they have each other's information. They can get a hold of each other. But I don't know. I don't think what Swerve said was that bad, to be quite honest with you, man. Booker T has a point. If the way he took it, I understand it. Definitely understand it. Like you said, he paved the way for a lot of people, which is why I think that he should have won that championship match at WrestleMania. So that'd been something else that he could have talked about as far as proving the wake up. We didn't really get that feeling, and it's so unfortunate that I don't know why this maybe isn't the show to talk about it, but why the black community doesn't embrace Rock like they did Kofi, because Rock is a black man who has dominated the business, right? But I don't remember us celebrating him like we did Kofi when he won Kofi Mania, right? But we should have had that same celebration for Booker T that night, and for Triple H to sound like it was a very racist, overtoned feud they had going on, and for him just to beat that butt and win the championship, and I think Booker T went back to the back of the bus at the end of it, was upsetting for me.
I think the Kofi piece was because Kofi was the first, I think, 100% African American black person to win the championship. If you take that out,
damn, but see, like, we'll stop pause that though. I hate that.
Yeah.
Like, right,
when
I think of Rhodesia, I don't think of her as not being 100%, right? Even like with me,
sure
like with
treated as such.
For sure. Like, with Michin, like the scrutiny she goes online when people are like questioning who she is and why she's included in certain black conversations. Like, I really hate how we talk about who's black or how black you should be and how you should act and how you should look and how you should behave, how you should dress. Like, at the end of the day, as a community, we should understand that if you look 1/3 black, you black in the eyes of everybody else, right? And we all have been held back in some type of way, so we should always embrace like this thing that we do as far as Rock not being 100%, and Rock often talk about who his dad is, right? So he's never shied away from his heritage.
And that's why it doesn't make any sense, man. Like, because he always puts it on for his black side.
For sure he does.
And I think the other part of it, too, is Rock was groomed to be there. Kofi Kingston was not.
Yeah.
I think that's the other part of it, too.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that whole Kofi Mania only happened because Ali got hurt. He wasn't even supposed to be in that spot for that WrestleMania run. Yeah. So I think all that kind of goes into it, too. But I haven't seen enough about the Kofi. I mean, not Kofi, the Booker T and Swerve thing. To be honest, maybe I'll like do some, because that's a deep dive conversation I probably want to have, because I have thoughts already on both sides.
Well, I do have thoughts on it, and I just remember the one interview I had saw with Booker T, and Booker T, it came up, a question was, how does it feel to be the first Black or African American champion? And the way I received it, it was almost like, don't put Black on it. And that can rub people one or two different ways. It could be like, yeah, you're right. Like, I remember when Raven Simone said, I'm not a Black actress, I'm an actress. The tone that she used almost was like, okay, are you really living into your Blackness? And some people could take that as, no, listen, I am no longer like a woman's wrestler. I'm a wrestler. So I think that it can be taken two different ways. But when I heard it and when I received it, and I forgot how long ago this interview was, when I heard Booker T say that, I was kind of taken back by it. Like, because own that shit. Like, that, I mean, you should be proud of that. Like, that should be on the top of your resume. Now, especially at that time. Now, as he has paved the way for other Black wrestlers, maybe they shouldn't say that anymore. But we've already know Swerve has been kind of on this thing since, at least in AEW that I've been watching, about his Blackness. Can some of it be heightened and over the top? Probably. But I had a problem too. Remember, our friend Fonz was about to leave watching WWE wrestling when he heard Vince say nigga.
No, like, he was at the show with us.
Okay.
We were at that show.
Yeah, he was pissed. He was livid. So I can understand, and this is kind of what I said really quickly, at least in the chat with E, like, I want everybody to speak their truth, and I want everybody to be able to say, hey, this is how I feel. I'm sorry that it hurt Booker T feeling, and he took offense to it, because, right, he was the one grinding in the 90s when it was super hard for Black people to even get a match. Nonetheless, win a match. So I understand both sides of it, but if Swerve heard that same interview that I heard of Booker T, I probably would have been like, dude, but you haven't really been repping it. And again, it's a small sample size of what I've ever heard Booker T talk about being like the first Black champion. So to me, I see both sides of it. If that is Swerve's truth and that's how he feels, he has the absolute right to talk about it on Vlad TV. And in return, Booker T has the same right to do it on his podcast. If he says, hey, you took offense to that, like, dude, I wasn't here. I was the one hearing the N-words, and I was up here checking people right then and there, then so be it too. But for me, I would say that the first time I heard today Booker's T response, Booker.
You gotta relax. I let it ride the first time. I let it ride the first time when you didn't put the S on feelings. You said hurt Booker T feeling. I let that shit ride.
Hey,
I am not allowing you to add an S.
Hey, look, it's been a long day for everybody.
Cody Rhodes talked about on Raw. He's got a little bit of a lisp. And he can't say the word S.
You know, Black people don't use S's properly.
He ain't Black.
We talked about this. No, I'm talking about me. We talked about this 100 episodes ago. Black people put S's on words that they're not supposed to, and then don't put S's on words that they're supposed to.
No, that ain't never been a thing.
Tyler Bate. Tyler Bate is not Tyler Bate. It's Tyler Bates. That's his name. Like, because when they was talking about Tyler Bate this week, like, no, that ain't even a real person. Point is, if that is Swerve's true feelings, he has the right to speak that. And if Booker T, if that is his true feelings, then he has the right to say that as well. Cool. But for me, this was the first time watching Booker T response. That was the first time that I felt, and this is me being completely open and honest, of wow, this is my first time I heard him speak on representing his Blackness. I'm not saying it right, but this was my first time of me hearing from Booker T point of view of, no, I know what I've been faced with. And I've been holding it down for Black people. I have been making a way for Black people, when all I've ever heard was, stop calling it black and white. No, I'm just a champion.
So you know what's funny, Rhodesia? Like, I don't know if, like, I don't know if I told you stories. I think I did. I met him at an autograph signing. This is maybe a couple years,
you told the story?
The first year.
Get the hell out of here with that bullshit.
Yeah, straight up. Yeah.
So like, so then even more, right?
And we had actually we had a very long, longer than I thought we would have. Right? We actually was holding up the line, and he's talking to me. And I said, "Hey, man, you know, how do you like? I consider you the greatest Black champion ever, or something of that nature, or Black wrestler, or something like that." He's like, "No, man, but I ain't just a Black wrestler though." And also he said, I don't consider myself a Black wrestler. I consider myself a wrestler. So for him, he was saying that he's worked hard enough to be just a wrestler in his eyes. He's not just a black athlete. He's an athlete. And he's one of the greatest athletes ever. I think that's what the gist of what he was trying to say. But he was very adamant during this conversation. I mean, we were talking, I want to say, God damn, it seemed like about 10 minutes. And I was trying to let him know, like, hey, I wasn't trying to offend, but I'm trying to let you know that, you know, when I see you doing on television, it inspires me and others to say, hey, we can do that too, despite how we look. Like, right, we can be at the head of a profession that's predominantly another color or culture, etc. But for him, he was stuck on that. Nah, man. Like, look, I'm a wrestler. I'm a wrestler. Like, not film. So I agree with you on that. I don't listen to all the Booker T interviews, but that's the first one where I heard him say something like, "Yo, I done paved the way," et cetera, et cetera. So, but staying with Swerve, and we can switch over to John Cena because I don't want to linger on this too much. I guess my man AJ Francis and Swerve got some beef too.
Okay, so I don't know nothing about that. What's up with that?
Man, AJ Francis, formerly Top Dollar, was going in on this man. Similar interview. Swerve was just describing how, you know, the hit RAW, you know, dissolved and how they fell apart and got released 4 years ago. And essentially what he says that one of the members was aggressive with somebody in management in the backstage and was causing issues, and that's what got him fired. It started with B-Fab when she got fired. One of the stable members got really aggressive on the phone about what was going on with her until they found out she got fired, spoke up for her really aggressively, and then after that, got really aggressive. And that's it. He's just telling his side of the story. He didn't even mention anybody's name. Top Dollar went in, like he done called him like all kinds of ends and called him a snake and all these other things. Top Dollar went in, called this dude like, man, brother, keep my name out your mouth. I wrote up on you a couple months ago. If you had this kind of energy, you should have popped off then. He was calling, man, he was dropping, like, you a cornball in, and he was going in. Like that version, go back and listen to AJ Francis. I think he has it on his timeline. That's the character we should be seeing on TNA and eventually back into WWE. This dude was going in. He wasn't that Huckleberry like character we see that's joking and clowning. This dude sounds like somebody he will whoop somebody's ass. I mean, he is like 7 feet tall or something like that. So go back and see that, y'all.
Wow.
Y'all done hijacking the show? It's been 17 minutes.
Well, we wouldn't have been hijacking if you was
shout out and
correct me on
respect
the
to everybody we talked
like
to so far.
Like seriously, like this.
But you did bring up Raven Simone. I need y'all to pull up a Google next time you get a chance. Like just Google like latest Raven Simone picture. She looks like Orlando Brown's like twin brother. So God bless that. And Michael Jackson said the best. Michael Jackson said the best back in 1991. It don't matter if you're black or white.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
We love everybody in this world.
Well, wait, hold on. It shouldn't matter if you're black or white. Let's roll with that.
Just letting you know. Can we get to the show?
I don't know. The way off of E's math, we probably had 57 minutes.
Oh yeah, we got to wrap up in about another 25 minutes.
I am so excited to do this show today. Like it's always fun to do the pods, right? Because it's always fun to interact and, you know, talk wrestling with you guys, but of course to our freaks that comment and listen to the show and send in feedback and such. But it is really fun to do these shows when you got either really good stuff to talk about or you got really bad stuff to talk about, right? If the shows are great, hell yeah. If the shows are bad, hell yeah, because we can talk about it. I do want to say we are back. We are back. I wasn't getting worried because I even said on last week's show, I believe by the time Mania rolls around, hype levels will be where it needs to be. But Paul Levesque restored the feeling. He restored the feeling on Monday Night Raw. Actually, the feeling started getting restored on SmackDown. It was a lot to like on SmackDown. They brought it all the way home on Monday Night Raw. I think maybe we also... Now, in real life, in real world, real life situations, I am going to take this as there was like 3 or 4 extra weeks between Elimination Chamber and WrestleMania. That wasn't there typically. Because once again, you don't want to peak too soon, right? But whatever it was, we had some rough patches for this WrestleMania. We talked about it all on the last episode, but we are back. This is how you restore the feeling. Same with Tony Khan too. If we want to be completely honest, AEW is doing some really good stuff right now. Actually, they're doing some great stuff right now. It is great to see. And that's why it is so important to be real.
Yeah.
With your feelings out here as wrestling fans. Imagine lying to yourself if you were a wrestling fan that shit was good when it wasn't. You can't even celebrate Monday Night Raw the way you should because you thought all the shows before Raw was fantastic. You thought AEW was cooking for 6 months in 2024. You can't even celebrate right now that the product is actually good because you have thought and you've said out loud that everything is great.
But you are celebrating. You are celebrating because you're saying, I told y'all AEW was hot. I told y'all.
They know. You could tell. Like when you get all these people who are now was like, that's what I'm talking about. Well, when were you talking about anything outside of that? So that is why it is okay to be critical of wrestling, no matter what promotion you watch, no matter what TV show you watch. It is okay to be critical. I came on here and said, Severance, you cannot fool me. I have eyes and I have ears.
First off, don't.
And they killed it on their season finale.
Thank you. Give them their props.
So Billy Mays, get off my back. All right, but that season finale, that is how you do television.
Yes, but that was the whole totality. I've been watching pro wrestling since the womb. Matt, you should have appreciated how beautiful Severance was from beginning to end.
I am not watching 2 months of bad television just to get to one episode
We've already had
or one show. Okay, but finally, John Cena showed up. That is what we've been waiting for 3 weeks now. I have so much I want to say. I say this a lot when like something like this happens. Say we can do a whole show just around this. We're not going to do a whole show just around this. But what I want to start with is, in its perfect timing, we talked on last week's show about the Tiffany Stratton, Charlotte Flair interaction backstage, sit-down promo. You cannot shit on the thought process behind that promo 2 weeks ago on SmackDown and then champion what John Cena and Cody Rhodes did on Monday Night Raw, because it's the same thing.
Oh, you mean
yes, you got two. You have two all-timers doing it on Monday Night Raw, and you got one all-timer and one rookie, but this is high-level grabs. That promo segment on Monday Night Raw was in real time, jockeying for who is the best on the microphone. That I can promise you, those lines was not talked about backstage. They did not say, okay, well, I'm going to pick on this or have something ready for that. What we saw was real time. I can guarantee you, I would put my WrestleMania tickets on the line for that. That was what we saw. And it was so good to see Cody try to do the Eminem 8 Mile piece, right? Let me get the shit in that you may make fun of. And then to watch John Cena not use those things.
Woo!
He had to use the tattoo, right? I think that was the one where he had to hit. He also had the line about you make, billionaire sons, wealthier, money, whatever that line was. But to watch John Cena in the heel role, we've seen that in reverse so many times. And I haven't listened, I haven't watched, I haven't even read any other tweets surrounding this segment. Matt watched Raw before we did. He's home for spring break. So he shot me a text message during the show, just basically saying that, I forgot what he didn't give anything away, but it was something to the point where, okay, I know they're cooking, right? I got a couple other text messages like, hey, have you watched Raw yet? Nope, haven't watched it yet. And it was a lot of, this is what you probably have been waiting for. This is what I think you'll like it. So when I watched it, I knew they had to have done it correct because this is allegedly Cena's last show before WrestleMania. And what I got was what I wanted week 1 and or week 2. Now, it doesn't take away what John Cena did week 1 or week 2, but it absolutely helps the hype for WrestleMania, for what we got on Monday night. So let me ask you two, before we even get into any particular lines that they hit. So I say I haven't seen anything because I only watched the promo once and that was it. I didn't want any other thoughts to enter my mind where I may get, what's the word?
Like convoluted, diluted, or
yeah,
something
right.
that.
Like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, you're right. They did say that. Oh, you're right. They didn't do that. Nope. This is strictly just kind of what I'm thinking in the moment. What'd you guys think of the promo segment? Like I said, we can wait and talk about any particular pieces, but I guess from what we saw in the first 2 weeks, was this enough for right now, with now 2 weeks left in Mania, to get you at least on the path of saying, okay, they are trending toward this being the night 2 WrestleMania main event?
Yes, on so many ways. One, we didn't have this over caricature of John Cena. We call him heel John Cena. I'm going to call him serious John Cena at this point. And John Cena is now talking to Cody. So my disconnect with John Cena the most was always him talking to the crowd that have been there for him, the fans who have been there for him. Now you're going one-on-one with Cody. So that is a completely different situation. So absolutely yes on that. I could have cried because how beautiful it was just to see them. And I'm like, man, who's going to win? Because I was like, all right, he's 1-for-1. Oh, he's 1-for-1. Like, I'm tying them up. Like, every time they're going back and forth. Oh, no, you tie. It's a tie. It's like the verses on the good verses back when COVID was, we were in quarantine. That's what it felt like. And it absolutely restored it because everything that was said between them, again, not bringing up any particular lines, it was true for them in that moment. And it was off the cuff. And you know that it was. And at one point when Cody on his first retort, I was joking, but I'm telling the truth. Like, Cena could have cried too, because he's like, "Oh my god, he's giving it to me. Like, this is what I be looking for. This is probably getting his stuff hard." Like, to me, that's freaking wrestling.
This motherfucker.
And he already talked about his dick already. So this is what I'm saying. So like, this is what we have been waiting for. Now, I went into it with no expectation because I told you fooled me last week. Because I went into it like, oh, this is it. This is that. And in the end, it wasn't that. But this was exactly what was needed for this feud. This gave it the realness of them going back and forth. And like you said, with the Tiff and Charlotte, you're just bringing them up. Cream rises to the top. You're going to get off what you're going to get off, and you're going to flop on it or you're not, but you're going to rise to the occasion. It was beautiful to watch. I probably would put this down as one of my most favorite promo segments between two people back to back. Probably top 3.
Yeah, really good back and forth. Really enjoyed it. Cena came back and was being Cena, right? He was like, and you see the difference between like a Cody at this point in his career, knowing his character, versus like a Roman Reigns back when like John Cena just railroaded that dude. Like, right? Like, Cody was ready for that.
Yep.
Like, right? And you think about it, at one point, like, Cena turned the crowd. Because, like, and the great thing, you see how over Cody is. He comes out there and everybody's, singing the Cody song. And then they won't let the man talk to keep on chanting. But at some point, the haters John Cena got the crowd behind him. They started chanting for John Cena, right? Mm-hmm. Like, a lesser promo guy would have choked in that moment.
Hell yeah.
And would have lost the crowd.
Hell yeah.
And like, that could have been a turning point for the entire feud. Almost kind of like a la like when Britt and Paige were going back and forth.
Oh yeah.
And Paige, Saraya, excuse me, cut like almost like a really bad promo, and then Britt just ate her up.
She ate her up.
Like, it just ate her up. And right, it was just over for her career. It was over for that match. Yep. Like, that could have went that way. I'm not entirely convinced that, there were some things that were discussed backstage before they went out there. Could be mistaken. I just feel like it'd be a professional thing to have some bullet points like, hey, get someone a heads up as far as what you're going to say.
You think so, huh? So, okay. No, so let's hold your thought.
No,
but let's talk about that
because I'm going to
forget. But let's talk about that though. What part of that promo? I know you're saying from a professional perspective, but knowing what this is gamesmanship. This is sportsmanship. I need to go out there, if I'm Cody Rhodes, to see if I can hang with John Cena. This is one of the only times I'm going to get with him at all. I got to test myself. What in that promo would you have thought now after seeing it that you say, you know what, maybe they ran that part by each other backstage?
All of it, because I know when we talk about like, oh, we need to test people. Like, this ain't time for this. This ain't the old school way of like doing wrestling. This is like big business, and this ain't Vince McMahon who used to get his rocks off on fucking people live on TV because that's what he wanted to do. No, this is a TKO owned company that is producing and putting on television shows. So with that being said, you want to fill people in because your goal is to put on the best possible television. And what you don't want to do is to have your big superstar look like a deer in headlights because they're not ready for shit that's coming to them. Like, that's cool from a IWC perspective that we can talk that shit online and we can say, ooh, but from a casual viewer who wants to cheer like a Tiff or like a Cody, like, that's not a good look for them to see like their hero look like a chump on national TV. That's just not good production on television. So that's something cool that we can talk about. But if I'm running the company, like, right, the professional thing to do is to control the dice, right? If this is like, real sports or whatever the case may be, it is what it is. But this is produced script television. So you want things to kind of line up to the way to where it's entertaining and gives you the desirable outcome. So the desired outcome is for the baby face to look courageous. You set the baby face up to look courageous. You don't set them up to look like an asshole. And so what biggest way to have somebody look like an asshole is to put like a battle master like John Cena in front of a dude who don't know what he's gonna say to him. Like that's just not what I'm doing in 2025. Now this is 2000. This is 1998. Okay, cool. Eat or be eaten. But this.
So do you think in that promo, do you think Cena held back at all, or do you think that was the strongest Cena had for Cody?
I think that he was prepared to go all the way. I don't think that was all that he had in his chamber. I don't think that was all that Cody had in his chamber. I told you in that moment when he was getting that first retort back, you could almost see how proud John Cena was in Cody. I mean, just go back and watch. I know you said you only watched it once. I only watched it once too, but me being partial to John Cena and irritated with him right now, I was watching him more intently than Cody was because I knew Cody was gonna be able to hang in there, if not do better. But real quick to your first question, I think that it was more of a what's off limits. So like when people go to do interviews and stuff like that, like what is off limits? What can you ask a person on the interview? I think it was more like that. I think it was more, hey, you can't talk about this, you can't talk about that, but everything is free.
Oh, see, okay. Yeah, I don't think that at all. E, do you think do you think that was the best John Cena? Do you think he held back at all in that promo segment?
I will hope so.
I think so because he knows his place. You said he was proud of Cody. I didn't take anything in ring that he was proud of Cody. What I took away was he is the consummate heel professional. Because if he wanted to cut Cody off at every turn and make it nasty, he could have done it. And to E's point, that wouldn't have been good TV. But he knew when to lay out. He knew how to lay out. He knew what to say. Because we know at the end of the segment, Cena's getting dropped at the crossroads. Right? We know we're going to hit the line with, you're still my hero, but what do you say? You're full of shit?
Yep.
I think he said.
Hey, you know what, though, Matt?
What's that?
I'm actually going to roll with Rhodesia. Actually, I kind of remember. I don't lost whatever I was going to say before I got interrupted now at this point. But I do remember I was going to say something similar. I think that there was a point in that promo when Cody retorted John Cena. John Cena broke character for a second and smiled. It's almost immediately after he lost the crowd, and then Cody got the crowd back. Like John Cena kind of smirked, and it wasn't like in a character. It was very in the moment. It was like whenever that point when Cody got the crowd back, that's when John Cena smiled,
and
like,
that's
almost
why
almost like attaboy.
Yeah,
and that's why I feel like they went out there as sportsmanship. I believe they went out. Let's go out there and let's sell it. Let's have some fun. Of course, we're going to make each other look right. Like there's been times where in the past, it felt like John Cena legit did not like the person he was in the ring with, and he's going to go out there to embarrass him. Yeah. He wasn't out there to embarrass Cody. He got some great lines in, right? Like, I am doing this because you are a facade. That's why I did this. You don't deserve that belt. he got some lines in, just like Cena got, or Cody got some lines in on Cena. But just watching them two, I'm like, this is when you know you've got two top level guys, and they are out there having fun. No slip ups. Nobody's out there fumbling and mumbling lines. I thought it was great. I do want to talk about, though, when Cody was booed. We've heard murmurs at times when he was feuding with Roman, where, you know, depending on what city they were in, they may boo, especially if he wasn't there. And Roman would make a comment about Cody, you may get some boos. I want to say that was the first time and by far the most boos Cody has had in ring since he's been back in WWE. Now, you can chalk some of that up to just excitement from the UK crowd, right? I saw so many people with Cena shirts on, but then they were also chanting whatever line Cody hit Cena with, and then the crowd started chanting that line. It's like, you can't buy his merch and then spew hate at him. Like, that's, I get you're excited, but damn, I just wish sometimes like the crowds could be authentic. Like, if you got that shirt on, you better rep them. But then the crowd really got behind Cena because I think everybody was waiting for Cena to show up and be Cena. Yeah. And when they finally got him, the place erupted. And then, to your point, Cody got him right back. And I love the line of, I've never been chanted at, you can't wrestle. That's incredible. That's one of the ones I'm sure that I'll make sure I'm gonna hit this line.
I think I think that was the line that Cena said, no, you can't say that.
And then, but you talked about Cena's reaction prior. Mm-hmm. Cena's reaction in that moment was gold also.
I actually popped so hard, I don't remember that part.
Yep. Just fantastic.
Real quick, them booing Cena, I took nothing of it. Because again, it's a European crowd. Cody. Correct. Them booing Cody, I took nothing by that. They're in another country. Cena has been their Superman forever. Even Cody calling him Super Cena for the most part. I don't think that is a reflection of the regular crowd next week when they come back to the States at all.
Were you guys surprised the only physicality was a crossroads to John Cena? Because we know by watching wrestling for 182 years combined that typically the person who gets laid out is the person who wins said championship at the big match.
No, I think it's too much time in between that and their match. And it wasn't like what we see and what we're going to talk about later with Jimmy and Gunther. That would be different. It's too much time. I took nothing by that.
Okay.
No, but I will say this though. As good as the back and forth was, I wish there was more storytelling. Like, as far as I know, like you guys said, it got you guys back into it. For me, I'm still at 7.5. All he was doing was talking shit in the microphone. Like, that's not a story to me. That's not a story to me. Like, I still don't, like, for me, nothing changes as far as seeing my excitement for the match. Like, right, I still don't know why Cena sold his soul. I still don't know why now. Like, right, I still don't know. I still haven't had any of my questions answered that would tell a story that's going to lead to me wanting to see these guys wrestle at WrestleMania. Besides, it's just icon versus icon.
But he did tell you why. Maybe it wasn't good enough for you. Cena said, because you're not the guy. That's why I'm doing this. You don't deserve this. I set this place up for success just to have you come, who you're fake, you're not truthful to the people. So he gave you a reason. You can say, hey, that's not a good enough reason. I think it's just the time, man. If this was the first promo
I need
segment,
to know why. I need to know why Rock. Like, why the partnership? Mm-hmm. I need to know that. Like, right, what was all? I need to know what that all was about. Like, right now, if you take The Rock out, like, the story doesn't really change. Because he could have turned on him and said and told the same story. Right. So for me, it's just like, I'm still looking for
it's incomplete. It's incomplete.
It's still incomplete.
Yeah.
Like, what I could appreciate though was at least Cody mentioned it. At least Cody said, I ain't the one who
Finally,
sold.
yeah.
I ain't the one who sold the soul to Rock. So at least they mentioned it. But you're right, we still don't know. But when I say that this is like, I'm excited, back to the question you first asked me saying, yes, this is it, because this is back to that non-super high caricature version of John Cena. Kind of like how I feel about Seth Rollins when he's the super goofy Seth Rollins. Like, no, let's be more serious, Seth. This John Cena was what I was waiting for. And again, like I said, it's a big difference because he's going now against Cody versus the crowd.
I have a question about Cody. And I asked Rhodesia and Little Matt a couple days ago. We were watching, I guess, SmackDown. Was Cody on SmackDown?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Why do people like Cody Rhodes so much?
I'm not gonna say my reason why.
And
don't put me out there.
Oh, you can put yourself out there. I don't care.
I'm not.
And I'm saying this in a legit question. Before Monday night, that was the first time he's ever been booed in the ring. I don't think it's because every heel he's been against has been just incredible at doing their job. Yes, they have been, but he's been in there against some people that he's absolutely had to carry at times. He still completely gets cheered. This is the first time in a long time we've had a straight baby face. And yes, there's been times at the end of feuds, he'll do some crazy shit, like pick up some,
every time,
some steel steps and then blast somebody in the face with it, right? Or a stand over, a bloody KO, and flex with his championship. But overall, he is a straight 100% baby face, and he is universally loved. Yeah, you got pockets of course, IWC that don't like him, but that's not what we get at the shows. Why do you think, if you did a poll of people, why do you think they would tell you they like Cody Rhodes?
You know, I shuddered at this question. I'm like, it's either going to be why he needs to turn heel, he needs to lose at WrestleMania and never come back, he's going to be fired type of a question. This is kind of in line with that. But for me, you know, like again, like when I first initially saw the dude, I'm like, oh, this is Dusty. This is Dusty. This is Dusty's kid. More so than Gold does. More so than when I saw Dustin Rhodes as the natural. I'm like, oh, this is Dusty's kid. He talks like Dusty. He has like that Dusty aura. And I was a big Dusty Rhodes fan. And I'm like, and one thing about, you know, Cody, like, you know, Cody kind of looks more like a wrestler. You know, like Dusty was a big guy. And it would be very interesting to see if like a guy who doesn't have a wrestler's body would be able to get over. He probably would, you know, like, you know, he probably wear like a shirt or something like that. And then his personality is larger than life, so he probably would get over with the crowd. But he looked like a wrestler. He had the same, you know, Dusty, like confidence. So for me, that's where it is for me personally. However, if you think about Cody, he has a very relatable story. Like, right? He wants to make his dad proud. He wants to continue his dad's legacy. And I feel like that's a lot of us, right? Who have parents, and, you know, especially if you've lost a parent, you want to continue that legacy, and you want them to look down and be proud of what you're doing and continuing the work, continuing that family legacy, right? And then in another way, like I feel like the Cody Rhodes character that we see on TV right now is probably his 2K character from like 20 years ago. Like this character is probably the version of him that he's always wanted to be. Right, which is probably why he can lean into it so heavily. It's, you know, he probably wanted to talk like his dad, look like Flair, have the poise of like a Nick Bockwinkel. Like this is probably a character he's had in his head, and he is now able to live it out on television. And I think a lot of wrestling fans have been in that scenario where they got a character of who they would be if they were a wrestler. Like, right, and I think we see that in him, like that fan in him, like, right. And so he has a very relatable like persona. Now we want to say, oh, he's rehearsed and he's poised. To me, I see a man who has his character perfected, and he's living his actual character, which is why it seems rehearsed, because he's probably been rehearsing and doing the same character ever since he was a little boy, and now he's a grown man living out his dream on television. You know, following his father's legacy. Like, why? How can you not like that?
And it came up just because. And I get all those, and it's funny because when I asked this question to Matt and Rhodesia, it was like a legit conversation because this is the first time we've seen a babyface at this level for this long in WWE. He's been back in WWE for what, 3 years now?
It feels like that.
Okay. And he hasn't lost any steam as a babyface. When Roman was the top guy, of course, you had parts of the crowd booing, you had the majority cheering. Same with Cena. I mean, he's the biggest babyface since those two. Even if there was like, I can't even think of outside of those two another babyface to compare him to. But typically there is a segment that would boo the babyface, even if it's just because you're a babyface and it's cool to boo the good guys. We haven't gotten to that point. And I said, what I kind of landed on was from a storyline perspective, like he fights for what's right? He's always going against evil. He's doing what he can to always fight back. Okay, that's the kayfabe. Maybe that's why little kids like him. But if you look at from a real life perspective, I think a lot of fans, you can't discredit what he did with AEW. And that is such an important part of wrestling history for us, people who've been watching wrestling for decades. We all know how bad WWE was before AEW. And when he and the Bucks and Kenny and Tony Khan started AEW, they legit gave us something tangible that was significantly better than what Vince McMahon and WWE was presenting to us. It took out NXT. So much so to the point where Triple H got released from his duties in NXT. And they branded 2.0 NXT. So like for that, we will always have a soft spot in our heart for Cody because you are the revolution. You are what everybody else talked about in kayfabe. You did in real life. You brought the Dusty thing. I think the Dusty part is a big part of it too. There is people who was like, oh, I remember watching his dad. You know, I was telling Matt how cool it's going to be for him if he continues to watch wrestling like 20 years from now, 30 years from now, hell, 40 years from now, when the Usos' sons are wrestling. And Roman's sons are wrestling. And he's going to be able to tell his kids, like, I remember watching their dad. And be able to have conversations about, I was at WrestleMania. Check this out. I was at WrestleMania when his dad fought his dad and beat his dad. And his kids will be like, what? Mm-hmm. Like, how just cool that is. It seems like he just kind of checks all the boxes. No matter what. If you're talking about hardcore fans, you know, kayfabe, this is kind of like uncharted territory. And for him to bring it full circle, for him to see the crowd kind of boo, start booing, and for him to get the crowd back as quickly as he did is some good shit. So kudos to those guys. Great step one, even though we only got 2 weeks left. Let's see if I know, like Cena was not scheduled to be at any more Raws. Let's see if we get something else. Maybe we get a Rock appearance, but we need something more next week. I was talking to somebody on Twitter, and I think it was my guy Billy over there, and or Dilly Bar, and I said that every show from now on needs to be a home run for them to get WrestleMania back to the hype levels that it needs to be. For the next 4 or 5 shows, they all need to be home runs. Let's pivot to SmackDown triple threat match. It's official, contract signing. I did see some of the backlash, alleged backlash, after Friday night, though, online. You guys got to be kidding me. You guys want to complain about Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins main eventing night 1 of WrestleMania. Get the hell out of here. That's people bitching just to bitch.
What would they want, and what were they saying in place? They Jey and Gunther or the women's? What were they wanting?
Probably women's.
Okay.
But they're just saying because there's no title on the line.
But there's nothing wrong in that, though. Like I don't agree with that because I would want to see this triple way. I didn't want to see this triple way at all, but I would prefer to see this triple way at the end of night 1. But I also can't hate on somebody who said that no, we should have a championship on the line, especially when the thing came up that said that neither one of your Royal Rumble winners are actually going to be in the true main event spot of either night. There's validity to that.
But this is not the first year. When Shinsuke and Asuka won years ago, neither one of them were in the final match. At this point, we know the deal, right? Like, you are getting a title shot at WrestleMania. You're not getting the main event slot at WrestleMania. But to say that Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins should not have a night one main event, I just think that's absolutely disingenuous. I think people are just saying that shit just because they think it's cool to say.
I don't. I think 80% of those people truly believe that.
That's insane to me. What'd you guys think of the contract signing? I guess the biggest part is they are going on last on night one. That kind of throws off what I said about Punk should not main event because he's lost every opportunity. He lost at the Rumble. He lost Elimination Chamber. But I wonder if this is part of the story. Seth was really adamant to Roman. Dude, you had your chance to cut the head off the snake and you allowed him in. I am starting to wonder now if we are going to get a heel CM Punk sooner rather than later. And Seth Rollins was right this entire time. Like, something big has to happen for Seth to look at Roman like, I told you this was going to happen. This is completely your fault. I don't know what that is yet because you saw the part, the hug, they're crying, everything is great. And then for him to hit the line of, that's still not the favor I'm owed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested to see what that is. But what do you guys think about the whole segment?
Thought what it was what it needed to be. I had a takeaway with Seth again. Like I said last time, I felt like CM Punk is the odd man out again, and it's probably by design. It's probably how they are telling the story. But like, I really felt the passion with the Seth and Roman. And then the second part of it, I actually didn't like Roman's like his cadence of talking. Like, it was again one of those his arrogant style speaking, and I just didn't like. I didn't really care for how he talked on the mic on SmackDown. Yes, he has aura, but like, you don't need to disrespect Punk kind of like how he did, because we are in a triple A match, regardless of if you're trying to be the big dog in this whole triple A. Like, I didn't like that. It was a miss for me. It was a miss for me. And then there was a time that he kind of dissed Punk, and I'm like, that wasn't cool, because the Roman that I know, he's kind of above all that and he's kind of beyond all that. Like, so I'm not even about to waste my time. Like, it just felt scripted to me when I got the passion from Seth.
I think it's completely opposite. Yeah, I feel like that was him in that moment. I feel like he is, because to your point about him being above that, he was above that before. He was the head of the table. He was a tribal chief. He was a champion. He's not above that now. But now I'm gifting you what you've never had, and you're in this match because of me. Check. Another thing I just did for you guys. I love how everybody is just clamoring for the tribal chief. Come here and then get acknowledged. Check. I was like, that Roman is comfortable and he's finding a niche that fits this story. If he just came out there and just did the scrawl and acknowledge me, it wouldn't work because there's nothing to that.
I'm talking about the time that he started talking to Punk. You're right. So let me take it back. Up until him addressing Punk, I did like that side of Roman. But when he started addressing Punk, I didn't like that, because to the point of you being the main event on night one, like, you're kind of burying him to me in that promo between the three of y'all. And I already felt like Punk was already the odd man out. I started feeling that last week. Like, you're the odd man out. So to get that again, then that's when I was like, I didn't like that presentation of Roman when he was addressing Punk, to be clear.
Okay, let me retort real quick. But that was also because, don't forget where the story's going with Heyman, which is Roman's manager, his wise man. He's got to say that. Seth is already like, you don't need to be. I've never seen anybody upset their main event in WrestleMania. Seth Rollins, check. This man is upset. He is going on last because of the hatred he has for CM Punk. Bravo, my good sir. But Roman has to play that side. So when we find out what this favor is, because even Heyman was mouthing to him,
don't do it.
Either don't do it or not now.
Don't.
That means Heyman knows, of course, what the favor is. And evidently, this is a catastrophic favor to either Heyman and or to Roman and or to WrestleMania. But that's why I think he had to do that, because when it comes back that now CM Punk completely has the upper hand with either his relationship with Paul Heyman or just in general, you'll be able to go back to that point and say, see, Roman, you got yours.
I give the whole thing a meh. Meh. Everything about it was meh. I can't really put words into it. When I watched it, it's just like, I mean, I'm not opposed to them, ending the night, because, honestly, at this point, who gives a fuck? Not like that though, but who
Right,
cares?
right.
Whatever, right? Like, they go in last, cool, Jay going last, cool. Well, whatever. I don't, it's, whatever. It's not going to change. Like, at this point, I'm a 7.5. Like, if they reverse those two, it's not going to take it to a 9 for me. It'll be fine. I'm sure the match is going to be good. I just feel like the story just isn't there for me. It has captivated me. CM Punk is going to main event. Hey, great for him. I love people to kind of accomplish their goals, and hey, he deserves it. I like the little, for me, like the story in my mind about CM Punk being main event is more interesting than what I've seen them play out in a storyline perspective. To see, Paul and CM Punk behind the scenes, mend their relationship, and two men who didn't like each other to now come back to see them embracing behind the scenes, and have them having that kind of relationship. And now to see CM Punk, with the gray beard and everything, finally getting like that story, that untold story is better than what I've seen played out on TV. I don't care what this favor is, because like whatever this favor is it's going to be, at this point they're building it up, and I don't think they can. I don't think they will be able to deliver the hype they're trying to build in this favor. I think it's going to be one of those convoluted. And honestly, I'd be very disappointed if it's one of those weak ass wrestling stipulations to where all of a sudden Paul Heyman has some kind of magical power over the board, and he's able to grant title matches at WrestleMania or beyond. Like, it just, like, if it's something along those lines, it's just going to be very tired to me. I feel like we have progressed as viewers, and they have progressed as a promotion to actually have these loose ass like storylines that just don't make a lot of sense, but just because they want to get from A to B. Like, I'll be very disappointed if it's something like that. I don't know what it could be, but honestly, at this point, I think whatever it's going to be, it's either going to be underwhelming or very uninteresting. I think the build for this is very uninteresting. There's nothing online that makes me see why this should be a main event, other than it's three big characters. But it's three big characters that aren't fighting for anything, and they're just bickering in the ring like some little bitches. So like, I'm just not. It's cool, but I'm not as hype as everybody else is on it.
Matt, you asked this question probably a couple times now since the road to WrestleMania, both to you and E. Do you see us knowing the favor come the end of night one WrestleMania?
Yes.
E?
The only how I can think it would be interesting enough if it's like some kind of a favor from like The Rock. And like, right. And then Rock somehow grants like the winner, like some kind of match at night 2. And then that would totally screw Cody, right? Let's say he manages to beat John Cena, only to have to now face like a fresh like CM Punk at the end of the match.
So do you think though, by the end of the WrestleMania, WWE flashes on your screen a night one, will we know what that favor is?
Man, maybe because I guess I'm more down the show than is. I don't really feel like we're gonna have anything that's gonna wow me. Like, so maybe not. I don't know. I don't know. I doubt it.
I think so, just because it ended the show. That was the last line we got.
Yeah,
that's not the favor I'm owed. And then Cole on Raw said, hopefully we find out what this favor is soon. So by it ending the contract signing for night one WrestleMania main event, that means they know whatever that favor is the hook for this match. That is now the hook for this entire match, is what is the favor. And I hope it doesn't leak. I don't want to know what the favor is
right
beforehand.
I don't either,
because I can't wrap my head around what it may be. And I don't want to, I haven't even sat down and thought about what the favor may be outside of months ago, where it was like, I want my wise man back. That's what I thought it was going to be. But then now that doesn't make sense. Like, you just received a WrestleMania main event, and Heyman made sure to say your lifelong dream. Heyman's crying. Punk's crying. The part that I'm also a little thrown off on. If I had to be thrown off on anything with this entire storyline, it is, why is Roman Reigns so okay with Heyman and Punk's relationship? They have yet to talk about that on screen. But for him to say this has been a lifelong dream of yours, you are headlining WrestleMania. for him to sign that paperwork and then say that is still not the favor I'm owed, which tells you the favor that he's owed is bigger than him main eventing WrestleMania. So yes, we need to know that. Now, if it is somehow, some way, he gets a title shot night 2 against the winner, who would you guys rather have? And Cody is not an option, E. Who would you rather have leave WrestleMania night 2 as champion? Would you rather be CM Punk or would you rather be John Cena?
I still would rather have Cena. And that's purely off of breaking records.
No, I mean, he could win it and then lose it to Punk. Punk's music
that's a
hits
good point.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, that's a good point. Okay, it's right. That's what you specifically just said, leaving WrestleMania. Well, if the goal is to get Punk to be a major heel, then for purposes of story and excitement of the show, and Punk is there, where Cena's, granted, Cena said this is his last year. I'm gonna go with Punk. I just rolled the dice on that one. Punk.
You said I can't say Cody Rhodes, right?
Yeah, just because I can't see Cody beating Punk and Cena like in the same night.
All right, I won't say Cody Rhodes. I'll say the American Nightmare.
Oh my God. What in the hell?
He gonna say Brandy Rhodes in a second.
He'll
Like,
say Liberty.
by proxy, Liberty is in the championship.
Liberty Rhodes. But yeah, so
Who you think? Who you want? If that
If
was
I
the
had
situation,
to,
and Cody was not the winner.
if I had to, give me Punk, because the story that, as much as the story is lacking between Roman, Punk, and Seth, I think they have a longer runway and they have longer legs in what that story could be with the three of them than what just Cena and Cody can be if they don't touch on The Rock and, like, you know what I mean? Just once again, what they are presenting on TV.
Right.
And that's why I'm so intrigued by Seth's reaction. What does Seth know that we don't know?
He probably knows. He probably says, he's probably like KO. He probably watches wrestling. He's probably like, I know what this is. If he already got the main event spot at Mania and that ain't the favor that's owed, the only other thing it can possibly be is a championship.
Because there's nothing on the line in this match.
Nothing.
Right? So Seth's perspective of, you let the snake in. You had a chance of cutting his head off and you didn't. And now
And you shook his hand.
Watch what's about to happen. So for him to say that and there's nothing on the line, I'm kind of just zeroing in on that. Yeah. We'll see though. They got 2 weeks too to put some more flames on the fire. Naomi's video package.
Brava.
I talked about it a couple weeks ago with her and Bianca. When you have that in you and you can't show it, how frustrating that has to be. And we've all probably felt that in our walks of life, and whatever you do for work or whatever you do for a career or whatever your passion is, you know what's inside of you and you can't show it. And either you can't show it because you haven't gotten the opportunity to show it, you don't have the avenue to show it, but it's like, damn, I know what I can do. And in Naomi's case, just saying, maybe she loved the glow, but she wanted to be more. And they're like, yeah, but you are the glow person. And she has to sit here and watch other people get on TV and not deliver lines or not step up in big moments. And she knows what she can do, but she's only the glow person. I am thrilled for her to be able to go out here and do what she's doing. She knocked it out of the park with Bianca. That video package was fantastic. Her look is great. I'm hoping they announce finally, maybe this Friday, her and Jade at WrestleMania. Because we got to get that at Mania. I mean, there's still a few matches on Mania that they haven't announced yet that you think we would probably get. But
I'm gonna ask
I loved it.
You think that match will be clean enough?
Yeah, don't disrespect Naomi.
I'm not talking about Naomi because
I
know
said don't
that
disrespect
she's
Naomi. You talk about the match.
All right, fine, got it. I got your answer, E. You think that match is gonna be clean enough?
Oh yeah, Jade will be just fine.
Okay.
I ain't start hating on my girl, man. She putting in that
hating.
work.
No one's hating.
She putting in that work. She gonna be just fine. And then, like I said, like Naomi is a veteran. She's gonna be able to lead that match in the right way. Because that's the thing about with Jay. I mean, these girls who need reps, and if you have a good bet in the ring with them, they'll be able to carry them. Because and then one day they're going to be able to do the same thing.
It's leaving me, but you talking about vets. Somebody's about to team with Naomi with Natalia. I forgot who it was. I'm like, uh-oh.
Maxine.
Oh, Maxine. I was like, uh-oh. But in a good way, because we already know what that means. You about to get some good reps in with her. Have
But
we
you
seen
know,
Natalia on TV with
oh,
WWE
like a
since she's
long
came
time.
back?
Yeah, she had one match or a couple matches, and that was it.
Okay. All right.
Natalia. But I will say you this. I thought that the Naomi TV package was like the most interesting thing on the show. Oh, one of.
And it's great. Yeah. It was great.
I'm more interested in that. Like that's the type of stuff I'm like interested in. Like I'm liking like the story that we're going. I like the growth that we've seen from Naomi as a character. Like she's just really like I never knew that she had this type of character in her. Especially seeing someone like I've seen her interviews and like the person that we see in the interview is honestly the person we've been kind of seeing on TV for all these years. Like she's it's still a TV show, but Total Divas. That Naomi character was the same Naomi character we saw on television. Like she's been playing like that character, and that's probably more likely who she is.
Mm-hmm.
But man, I never had my wild dream. I thought we would see this version Naomi. She is like a very compelling character.
Mm-hmm.
One of the most compelling characters I think on the actual show. To be honest with you, I'm very interested in seeing the growth of it. I'm definitely interested in seeing the match. I'm just looking at the match like, man, like, yo, like Jade, like she just doesn't seem like a typical baby face to me. Not that she's a badass character, but man, she just looks and talks just like a heel. When she was in that segment with B-Fab and
That's who it
Misha,
was.
Yep.
I was
like,
thinking the same thing during that.
She's
Like,
getting her play like she's gonna play hard. I'm like,
just
damn,
her whole demeanor,
like,
her whole
like,
demeanor
chill.
was like, like But you think about her interaction with Charlotte, later on, right? Like, just them eyeing each other. Like you can see night and day. Like if you think about Tiffany Stratton and Jade Cargill, like as far as like how long they've been in the business, is similar. Like right when we could say Tiffany is a much better in-ring competitor.
Sure.
Right. And maybe as a character more rehearsed, it's probably a well-rounded, more fleshed out. However, Jade Cargill knows who Jade Cargill is.
Yeah.
So when she steps to Charlotte, when you got them eye to eye, like if there was a promo segment between those two, and let's just say that Charlotte went to business for herself, right? There's no way in hell that Jay will let Charlotte do to her what Tiffany let do to her in that promo.
I agree.
There's no way in hell.
I agree.
Like right, because that's how strong of a character and presence that Jade is. But it just seems more heelish to me.
For sure. And then we talk about like even just build. Even Bianca has a similar build as far as we talked. Matt and I just laughed a lot when we saw her in her referee uniform because like she's fake. Like this ain't even a real person. Just like how perfect her body is. Yep. So similar to like Jade, but Bianca could be she was a great bad girl too, but Bianca still is a good girl. Like you said, if you compare the two of them and their interactions, you always will feel more safe and more like, oh, Bianca is the baby face, where Jade just doesn't really have that in her. Like Jade is like when we talk about like maybe personalities, like Jade is that like director type personality. Like, nope, I probably have a few words. I get straight to the point. Whereas, Bianca's more of like more, not say bubbly, but more social, more diplomatic in her approach. And you're right. To me, I think it's gonna be very hard to build Jade as a baby face just going forward. And I don't think they need to. They don't need to.
Shout out to my girl, Miss Awesome Saucy on YouTube. She left some good comments
I love that name.
On the last pod. Joe Davis, I was looking, I found it. Let me ask you guys, out of these three.
Okay.
Rank them. You have to use looks because that's part of the package. But rank them in overall right now. Jade Cargill, Tiffany Stratton, Mariah May. Joe Davis and I was talking about that on YouTube in the last comments for the last episode.
Jade, Tiffy, Mariah.
Yep. And Joe said Jade only has the look over them, which I agree with. Of course, we're talking about wrestling ability.
Oh, we talking
That's
about
not
a
even
total
close.
package.
So we're just talking about overall, the overall package. If you had to rank those three right now, Mariah May, Tiffany Stratton, Jade Cargill, who's number one?
I'm gonna probably say Mariah, Jade, and Tiffy.
Damn, Tiffy really fucked up in that backstage promo 2 weeks ago. She got it back last week, though. She had a hell of a promo backstage. That was a Tiffy that, hey, good job, Tiff. Way to come back. But damn, that really soured you on her, huh?
Right. Let's say, for instance, if Tiffy had never came up to this sounds terrible. A year ago she never came up to WWE. No, the Tiffy I know when she's at the top of her game, and again when she's not competing against somebody like Charlotte Flair, I probably would have put it Tiffy, Mariah, Jade. But as of right this moment, and I don't even know if it's fair to say Mariah because I don't watch AEW that much like that. But I'm still going to go off because of what I said last week. When I watch TV and I look at Mariah, like I want to keep watching. And I know she's much better in the ring versus Jade at this moment. So Mariah, Jade, Tiffy as of this moment today.
Mariah, Jade, Tiffy. Okay. What you got?
I'm just thinking about it. If I had to draft like right now, I'll draft Jade, Tiffany, and then Mariah.
Okay.
Because I go.
So
with
are
Jade.
you looking at a draft from the future perspective? What if you had to win today? You're doing the draft. You got to win this month. You still going Jade first?
I mean, I book like old school,
now what
man,
she could be.
Like I don't. For me, I still book like old school promoters do, right? Somebody who's turning heads, like somebody with aura. I think that I would rather have Jade with the aura, the look, turning heads, and then wrestling matches. Because like so, for instance, for me, I think my philosophy, I think that somebody wrestling a 5-star match and just with okay aura is probably less than somebody having a 3-star match with ultra aura and the house is popping.
I agree with that.
Because people are into the character and like the microphone and promo. Like I would rather have that 3-star match and the characters in the ring are over versus that 5-star match and people aren't as over. Like right, people are just saying oh this is awesome, right? Wrestle forever, fight forever, and that type. And they're not really invested in who wins. They just like the action that they're seeing. And I know for damn sure that after that match is over, they're going to forget about the match. But guess what? If you got Jade and versus somebody and there's a hot feud and there's some hot character investment into that, they're going to be looking for the next segment or the next promo, the next time those guys, they're in the ring next time versus, the actual match. So for me, I'm going Jade because she has that it right now. I think that Tiffy I don't think Tiffy's that far from the actual it perspective. Like in a lot of ways, I hate to say it, she has a natural look that you will want, right? I mean, and she's very attractive and she can go in the ring. But I just think that Jay has that China-ish type thing going for her, right? She's just something different about her than anybody else.
I got it. Okay.
What you say, Matt?
Today, I would probably still go Tiffany first. Jade second, Mariah third. Today. Ask me again in 2 months.
Hey, if Mariah does end up going to WWE, which we have no idea, right? How far do you think she'll go on the card in today's landscape?
NXT or WWE?
Man, I mean, goddamn, like, here's the one thing let's talk about is because we're assuming she would go to NXT first. Damn, this woman was the AEW World Champion for almost a year.
I didn't think that, though. I didn't think she would go to NXT first.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. For me, the same thing. I'm like, man, you going to put her on NXT television?
But NXT has, but will we not agree NXT has the best women's division on TV?
Yeah, but
shit, if Jordan Grace went to NXT...
Hey,
if Roxanne Perez is still in NXT, I don't think it's about a talent.
Roxanne Perez, right?
Let me ask y'all a question right now. What's more popular right now? Women college basketball or the WNBA?
Women WNBA. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't watch.
I mean, right now because it's like the
I
Final
actually hate
Four
college
stuff,
sports.
so.
I actually hate college sports. So,
but I know what you're getting at. But I think
the investment will be college sports.
But if she goes to NXT, it's not. I don't think it will be because, and maybe they see something we don't, right? Like learn what a hard cam is. Remember that one years ago. I don't think it's for that. I think it would be to continue to bolster that division because Jordan Grace has got to get caught up this year. You would think, like soon. Roxanne, you would think should be soon. I mean, they have
Roxanne
4 or 5 women.
Roxanne was like, listen, Sean, I don't ever want to go really fully up. I don't want to commit to Triple H. You got me forever. Because, like, I still don't get it unless it is truly, which she's very good. Like, when we see her every time in these multi-women matches in WWE proper, she does not look out of place. She looks like talking about Roxanne. She looks completely where she belongs. She doesn't look out of place at all. But unless they're really keeping her down in NXT as a Natalya, like you gotta bring this lady up and you gotta let her shine.
No, I think it's because they don't have a spot for her yet.
I mean, that's exactly what it is. They don't have a spot for her right now. It's WrestleMania. So after
right. After Mania,
you got the shake up, etc. She's going to get drafted. She's going to be up there. I think like you talking about Mariah. At the end of the day, NXT is developmental. That's what it is.
It is.
And like Mariah May, former AEW, she has already proven her worth as an in-ring competitor and as a character. She has all the tools. She doesn't need to take a detour in NXT. Like she's, if Penta and Ray Phoenix and those guys can be called up,
absolutely,
like immediately, she's definitely can be called up. Because there was talk that Ricky was going to go straight up there, right? But we ain't got a spot for you right now. Let's go ahead and build you here. Like, but Mariah May definitely she needs to go to the main roster. My question is like, how far can she go? Given her talent.
I think she can go far
and charisma.
Yeah, I think she can go far.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the sky's the limit for her. That's interesting though that you made the comment of using Phoenix and Penta as if those guys are on the main roster. Mariah May needs to be on the main roster, and they've been working longer than she has. That's interesting. That was kind of E's mindset around that.
But I feel like the only person who, even Tony Starks, I always call him Tony
Starks,
Storm.
Iron Man. That's cool.
What is my man name? Actually, changed his name.
Ricky Saints.
Ricky Saints. There we go. Ricky.
Look, it's
Ricky's about to start calling him Ricky New Orleans. Watch.
And it's plural too, right? That should
that is
to you.
Right. It is.
I will always remember it now. You are right. Now that you said
that. Come on, Ricky Saint. I know Ricky Saint doesn't lose.
Wait, what is it then? Ricky Saints?
Saints.
Okay. Yeah. Oh Lord. But Ricky Saints
that boy Ricky Saint when he came on that UPN.
We can move from that. All I'm saying is it made sense for him to go to NXT. He's still really young, so I could see that. You're right as far as Penta and Phoenix, as far as them coming straight to WWE proper. But Mariah's also been wrestling too, and we did find out she's super young, which is like 26. But she still wrestled in Japan, so I wouldn't imagine her going to NXT women. That the majority of them have only really been athletes beforehand and then getting recruited. Like, I think she is a little bit beyond that.
How surprising was it that Phoenix is going to be on SmackDown Friday? I just knew that was going to be a night after WrestleMania or SmackDown after WrestleMania.
I'm conflicted on that.
That's interesting.
I don't know what I feel about that right now. I'm really conflicted on it.
Well,
so I can't answer
that. He's got to have a WrestleMania match.
Because they introduced him beforehand?
You're like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
But that's really interesting. Really interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. But you see, like, what we thought, like the Braun and Penta thing was going to be a situation maybe at possibly Mania and them tag teaming when Braun took out Penta and Penta checked him backstage. Maybe that's an opening for maybe the brothers coming back together and it being Lucha Bros. I don't know.
Oh no, we getting that 4-way. Spoiler alert. Sorry.
But with the Lucha Bros instead, right?
No. It'll be Braun, Penta, Finn, and Dom. Liv said, I'm going to talk to Pierce. I want to share something with you guys before we get to Gunther and Jey.
Okay.
So, Bobby, you guys heard me talk about Bobby, my cousin. He watches the show. Shout out to Bobby.
Hey, Bobby.
So, Bobby, real quick, backstory. Bobby was the cousin I shared with you guys that came to visit, I think last year, watched an episode of SmackDown. Hadn't watched wrestling in years. And he now watches weekly. And he listens to the show weekly. So shout out to him. But he sent me this awesome text message on Saturday. I want to share. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I do want to share this. Let me find it. He said, he put the podcast over, which was awesome. Great seeing that. He said, as a newcomer, the John Cena thing is not keeping me interested for all the reasons that you, E, and Rhodesia laid out. On the women's side, I'm tired of the same thing where Io Sky is getting slapped in the face and then she has a tantrum. And honestly, there's such a size difference that it can be a bit distracting. I know that it's entertainment, but for me, it seems a little distracting. I have to go back and watch Charlotte Flair, I'm assuming, from Friday to see what happened with her and Tiffany. He said, I'm curious where the whole John Cena Cody Rhodes things goes, but the week to week right now makes no sense to me. I'm not feeling him at the moment. I do love the reaction to the crowd, though. So I shared that because this is someone who is just brand new to wrestling and kind of getting his thoughts on what the landscape before these last two shows were. This is what I wanted to share, though, because I thought this was really cool. He said, I just wanted to share you a story back in the day when my dad used to watch wrestling. Keep in mind, I watched wrestling too, but this was a time where they were pushing that it was real. Finding out that it was so fake for me was like finding out there was no Santa Claus, so I just turned away from it. But when Dad would watch the wrestling, he would actually like rise up in his chair when somebody scooped somebody up for a slam, and when they slammed him, he'd fall back in the chair. It wasn't a huge move. It was subtle, but if you were paying attention to him, that's what he was doing because he was so into what he was watching. And I'm sure for him, he had a different perspective on what was real and what was not versus a child, but he still loved it and enjoyed it as much. When we were on the cruise, which they were just on the cruise, like traveling the whole world.
Like
so
25 days.
Light flex. I was watching Raw, and at one point during one of the matches, Anna asked me, are you okay? Because I had my AirPods in. And I asked her why she asked. She said, you keep making this noise. And I was like, well, what's the noise? And I was grunting the same way Dad would grunt when I would see a move with something happen and then somebody land and get hit or whatever it was. So it was so cool for me to make that connection and understand where that came from, but also knowing it's completely emotional, which lets me know I'm really enjoying the journey of what I'm seeing. Of course, your podcast gives me a different perspective on things, and that's okay. But at the end of the day, it's still about me sitting in front of the TV and enjoying it. And I'm glad I'm finally feeling that connection. And of course, I'm in a better position to enjoy the podcast even more. I thought that was incredible.
That was so beautiful.
Yep. I thought that was incredible for him to be able to make that connection of what his dad used to do watching wrestling. And now he's doing the same thing. Like
my man said in that school bleachers, it's real to me.
Yeah. Yeah. So just wanted to share that. I told him I was like, I'm going to share that because like I got emotional reading that.
Yeah.
Because for me, like knowing where he was, where he wasn't even watching over here. And I shared the story about Dude, before he passed when he was with us in December watching, and I hadn't watched wrestling with him in decades. And we used to watch everything together. And for him to be locked in on SmackDown, it's just really cool. So I wanted to share that.
I know I'm all weepy.
All weepy.
No, weepy.
I tell you somebody else who's weepy.
No, he did. He did. Yeah. He did.
I just put up a tweet right before the pod of a picture of when Rocky was holding Apollo Creed and then Jay holding Jimmy. I was like, they did it perfectly. Holy hell. Now, of course, I ain't get on my soapbox and say I called it. But I told y'all last week it was going to happen exactly that way. But that's heat. Bravo. Again, WWE. Completely a different company than what it was years ago. Yeah, we've talked about it before, right? The blood, the cursing when it makes sense. But that angle was something we would not have gotten years ago. And that completely, for me, changed the trajectory. And I said it would, but it changed the trajectory of that feud. To see the blood, to see Gunther lick the blood from Jimmy Uso, to have just to stand there and have all the blood on him. Fantastic shit, man. Fantastic shit. So what'd you guys think of, or when would you think of it? And did it give you that push to now to be more excited for the match?
For sure. Gave me the push. Absolutely. I was listening to the TFW pod last week. And so I kind of had a spoiler that said that this was going to happen here. I will say, because I always have to bring this out, and this is not how I feel, but I thought it for a half a second. we talk about, I always mention like
What if Jey loses
Jacob
still?
Fatu. No,
Is that what you
I'm
thought
not
for a
there
second?
yet. I'm not there yet. I'm talking about Jacob Fatu. You know how I remember I would say like Jacob Fatu don't sell anything, right? So he has the luxury of not selling, so now he can look bigger and better than everybody else. I did feel for a half a second like, well, damn, that's a lot of blood on regular TV. Granted, it's Netflix, but not like a PLE. It's a lot of blood for TV. Like, are we only feeling this way that Jimmy died because we saw so much blood? Part of it is yes. I mean, that's part of the presentation, but
Right.
also at the same time, it's like, well, everyone else doesn't get that same luxury to be able to show that much blood. So for a half a second, I did feel like, yes, this gave me what I needed to be able to like be all in for their match as of this moment, like if Mania was this weekend. But I also felt for a half a second like, but was that a crutch? Like, was there a way that you could have left Jimmy half dead without that much blood? That's just my thoughts.
I thought it was really nice. They're trying their damnedest to make Gunther like a credible like threat to Jey at WrestleMania, right? Like, oh, can Jey come back from this? What is Jey like? They are really trying to put Jey in jeopardy to make you feel like he can lose this match. And I think it actually made Gunther a more vicious heel, right? And he plays the character. He plays that role so good. Jimmy played his role so good, and of course Jey looking helpless and him trying to reach out. It's not. It was a nice, very very nice scene. Like I told you, I love that character stuff. So really good. As far as making you more interested to see the match, I'm already want to see the match already. I'm wanting to see Jey win. Like right, that's what I'm here for. I want to see it happen. So I actually I like that segment better than I would say the other main event segments.
Yeah.
Like right, if even the promo back and forth was just that. It was a nice promo back and forth, but from a story perspective, I thought that was really good. I thought that added an extra edge for Jey to give him, okay, of course, win the championship at WrestleMania is going to be a huge deal for you, but also now you need to get revenge for your brother from what this nasty, dirty asshole is doing for you. Like, really good stuff.
You know what? It was so good. It was so good because outside of Jimmy being bloody, what now this presents and how I would book it, Gunther put hands on officials and they didn't say anything about it last night. If it was me, I would have Pierce suspend Gunther for the next 2 weeks.
Right.
Stay home. You put hands on officials. We will see you at WrestleMania. I would have then Jey maybe on the show next week, maybe not. Have Jey come out on the go home show and demand Gunther first match at WrestleMania. I'm not waiting around. This is real life to me. I want his ass as soon as that show starts. That's how you get away with not putting that match anywhere other than the first match. And Jey asked for it, right? So it comes a little bit differently. Mm-hmm. You also could do the thing, too, where Jey shows up. I don't know how you get Gunther to the ring, but you also could do the thing where Jey shows up at Mania, demands it when he shows up. They show it on the big screen. He heads to the ring. But like I said, I don't know how you get the whole Gunther part to it. Now, here's my question for you, E. I asked Rhodesia last night. I love the storyline of what happened because we know we're not seeing Jimmy until WrestleMania. What if Jey, and this is where like the real life stuff gets fun with wrestling. Jey knows he's winning the title at WrestleMania. So say they came up with the finish for WrestleMania, him and Gunther. And Jey says, okay, my brother has to be involved though with the finish. I was a tag team guy my entire life. We went from main eventing night one of WrestleMania 2 years ago for me getting a title shot at WrestleMania as a singles competitor. Jimmy, my brother's got to be there. 100% he needs to be there. So then they do this storyline, right? Lay him out. We've been watching wrestling long enough. When Jimmy shows up at WrestleMania, roof's going to blow off Allegiant Stadium. What's a better story for you? And typically, the babyface, you always want the babyface to beat the heel by themselves. Is a better story Gunther cheats, he doesn't get caught by the referee, ref bump, Jimmy comes in and helps Jey win the championship so they had that moment, or is a better moment for you Jimmy showing up after Jey wins to hand him the belt or the hug in the middle of the ring with the pyro going off at WrestleMania?
I'm down for it all, to be honest with you. I feel like Jimmy at this point has to be involved in some type of way. But I thought that in some ways a perfect introduction to him in the match would be maybe even in the score, a la like bloodline rules. Now you have as many people part of the Imperium faction anymore, right? He acts half of them. But
Mhm.
we haven't seen Ludwig in a while, right? Maybe he comes down to try to interfere in the match. Then out comes Jimmy, to get rid of Ludwig. Maybe, he gives, Gunther a stray, and then keep it moving, right? I think that'd be a nice little mini bloodline rule type thing. Ludwig, his music comes down. All of a sudden, Jimmy's music hit. Boom, he comes to get his ass up out of there. Give him a little chop to Gunther, you know what I'm saying, for measures. And then he look at Jey like, get his ass, right? And then, Jey starts going through the whole things of, tuning up the band, so to speak. And then we get that win. I think for me, I think that'd be pretty cool to see.
Rhodesia, go ahead and share what you said last night. I brought up where I was talking about if Jey was like, look, my brother's got to be involved. Would you rather?
At the end of the day, Jey has to win and become champion, even though you just said like 5 minutes ago, Jey may not still win. Jey has to win. Jey cannot win, though, with a Jimmy interference that caused him to win. Now, we go back and forth, like he brought up Ludwig. I didn't think about him because in my mind, I feel like they're done. I think they should be done. But that's a good point, I mean, because it's still there. So he could come and interfere, and Jimmy kind of says, let's even it. But what I said was, I can see Jimmy being active in a situation to even the score. Let's say if there's a ref bump or something like that, and Gunther did a low blower, Gunther did something that was illegal. I can absolutely see Jimmy trying to even that. But when Jey wins, he has to win only on his own. Like Jimmy's interference cannot be the reason why Jey won or he's invalidated. I would rather Jey not even win if we're going to get a win because Jimmy helped him win.
So you saying that Jimmy cannot touch Gunther at all?
Didn't say that. I said like if it's a situation where there's a ref bump or there's something like that where Gunther is taking advantage of Jey and Jimmy is trying to keep it even, then I can see that happening.
That would be the only way. I mean,
yeah, but other than
they're
that,
going to tell the story the right way.
Yeah, but other than that, there is no doubt when Jey wins that championship that it was because of Jimmy. Kind of along the same lines of what we saw at Endgame at WrestleMania 40. We saw all the interference, but none of them, your Undertakers, your Seth, all those people who came in and interfered, they weren't the reason why Cody won. Cody still won. Cody won. And that's how it feels like in this case here. I would rather Jey not win at all and Gunther retains than Jey win with that asterisk of Jimmy helping him win.
Got it. Okay. Got it. That should be fun. The only thing else I have really is I miss seeing Rhea Ripley wrestle. Like Triple H keeps her in damn bubble wrap for a Raw because she never wrestles. And when she wrestles, you just remember how good she is. But fun match. Bianca got her ass kicked for being a referee. She took more bumps than I think Io did in that match.
But if I was Bianca, I would have been called that match off. Like, y'all would have been big mad at me because the moment I got first touched, oh, it's over. This match is over. It's calling over. It off. I'm calling all the way off. And I'm walking back to the back.
My only other thing is Dynasty is this Sunday. I'm actually excited to watch it. Like I said, AEW's been doing some really, really good stuff. Moxley versus Swerve. I don't think Swerve's winning, unfortunately. I think they're holding off for something else. The match I'm most looking forward to is Ricochet, Kenny Omega, and Speedball. I think that match is going to be ridiculous. Megan Bayne versus Toni Storm. Don't think it's Megan Bayne's time. That would be really early. Daniel Garcia versus Adam Cole. Hey, Adam Cole's been going in the gym. Shout out to Adam Cole. I don't know if you guys saw that or not.
I'm not about to
Adam
do
Cole
that.
got some definition in his arms.
I'm not looking at that.
You're not looking at his arms?
No, I ain't like. I'm no.
What the hell is that about?
Just keep going. Just keep going.
No, I mean, and I think there's one more match. Death Riders versus Rated FTR for the World Trio Championship. I think that's all the matches right now, but should be a fun show. AEW is hitting a good stride. Their creative is probably 3 times better than it was last year. I couldn't even watch an episode without shaking my head. And now I can get through an episode. And there's still some things you look at and you're just like, what? But overall, it's enjoyable. So it's better for the entire industry when we got 2 strong top companies. I think TNA is still doing their thing, but I don't watch TNA weekly. So
I got to tell you something, Matt. I turned on Dynamite. And then when Kenny Omega came out there, and I think it was when Blake Christian came out.
Okay.
With my man Lee Johnson. Shouts out to Lee Johnson. I met that young brother, man. Really nice guy. Good seeing him on TV. But he came out there looking like a regular dude. Like, came out there looking like a regular dude. Blake Christian came out there in like the worst robe I've ever seen, man. This one like a Ravishing Rick Rude, Greg Valentine robe. This is like he went to Kohl's and got a robe and wore it out for the show. Like when I saw it was Blake Christian and Kenny Omega, I know that match was probably a banger. But I was not interested. I said, you know what? I'm not watching Dynamite tonight. Turned that bitch right on off.
Kept it moving.
And kept it moving.
Athena showed up on Collision to confront Mercedes finally. So it's great to see Athena on AEW television. So I'm sure we'll get that at
Dynasty.
No.
Oh, Forbidden Door.
No, the one
Forbidden Wall.
In Texas. All in Texas. Oh. Forbidden Wall. All right, we out, man.
And no, I do got one question.
Well, what you got?
Yeah. Just so you know, Lee Johnson, Matthew called him Matthew called him the Fashion Nova model. But I mean, I could probably say this for next time, but I'll just ask it here. Mm-hmm. Money grab, or you like it, or both. And we could just end it on that. The Hall of Fame introducing matches into the Hall of Fame.
I had that on my list, but I know we're running long. I love it.
Okay.
And I absolutely love the first match ever in the Hall of Fame is going to be Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Bret Hart. I Quit match.
That's the one we watched together, right? That we stream watch?
No,
what did we
you
watch?
Keep saying that. We watched the Iron Man match, that trash ass match.
That's why I can't remember it. That's why I can't remember it.
But that match, it did not hold up. It wasn't good when it first happened. It wasn't great afterwards. 60 minutes, no, you good. Every Iron Man match since then has been better than that Iron Man match. No, this is I Quit Bret Hart, Stone Cold, Ken Shamrock, special guest referee, WrestleMania 13. I've watched that match legit probably more than I've watched any other. Actually, I know I've watched it more than any other match ever. Wow. It's that good. It holds up. It is a perfect wrestling match.
So you probably know by heart the commentary too.
Oh, I know everything about it. It took a lot out. It took a hell of a lot out.
That's where that's from, huh?
Buddy.
Okay.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess
we talk about that all the time. Yeah.
Yep. You wouldn't know. But yeah, I love it.
Money grab, or you like it, or both.
Oh, it's all that.
Yeah, me too.
I'm down for it though. You know.
Yep, it's fantastic.
I'm still not watching it, but
yeah, the tickets still are super high. I saw a lot of people talking about ticket prices again last week. I guess that was a big deal. Ticket sales, I guess, are under the last few WrestleManias. One part of it is Allegiant Stadium is smaller than the other WrestleManias, but keep not going. They'll figure it out in terms of price. Yeah, just bring the price down.
No, they're just gonna charge y'all more, and it's gonna even out. It'll be fine. They know what they're doing. Yeah,
good luck with that. It will be interesting. It will be interesting to see.
They'll keep raising.
It'll be interesting to see what the prices are in New Orleans. They can't get much higher than this year. Our seats just better be good. That's all I gotta say. All right, we out, y'all. We'll be back next week to talk more graps. Maybe we even talk a little bit of Dynasty. You watching Dynasty Sunday?
No.
All right, good talk.
Absolutely not.
We out, y'all.
Answer for them.
Peace. He said no.